At the beginning, we see what appears to be the aftermath of a massacre. Blood and mayhem have spread throughout the area. The movie jumps to a time before the incident. A group of 9 government employees are traveling to a village in the middle of the forest, a place called Kalargen. There, they plan to have a conference to discuss a major project. As part of the municipality office, the team has approved and arranged for the construction of a massive modern shopping mall in the area, which is still fairly rural and undeveloped. We are introduced to Ingela, who is the head of the municipality office. Then, there's the project leader, Jonas, who is a very arrogant and self-centered person. His friend, Kaj, seems to have nothing to do other than praise Jonas, and make fun of everyone else in the group. Furthermore, we see Lena, who is back to work after some time off due to health concerns. We also meet Amir, who has feelings for Lena, but is too afraid to express them. Alongside them, the other members include Eva, Torbjorn, Nadia, and Annette. The group stops at the shopping mall site, as the official start of its construction is scheduled for the following day. Ingela commends her team, particularly Jonas, for securing deals with major companies like IKEA to quickly acquire space at the mall for their business. She also states that they are here for a professional team building activity, where they will learn how to work better together. The group then leaves for their destination, while we notice a mysterious man rowing a boat and heading somewhere. Soon after, the gang arrives at Kalarjon Holiday Village, which is located in the middle of the forest. The resort is managed by a woman named Jenny, accompanied by the guide, the caretaker and the chef. All employees are paired and assigned cabin rooms based on their astrological signs. Later that day, the chef tries to make lunch for the guests, but discovers that there is no gas. So, he decides to go out and fill the cylinder. He gets into his car and listens to the radio, where he learns that many people are against the construction of the mall. Suddenly, something slams into his car, and when he goes to check, he notices that a trap has been placed on the road. Just then, he hears some noise in the forest, and decides to look into it. When he arrives in the woods, he finds there are several strands connecting one tree to the next. As the chef inspects it, someone attacks him from behind. Meanwhile, at the resort, the team gathers for a meeting to discuss their project. Ingela initiates the meeting with an advertisement video, and there are several disagreements on the statement and goal of the advertisement. There is also an environmental consideration, as the construction of a shopping mall and a community will result in the destruction of forests, open fields and farmlands. Annette voices strong opposition, but the others try to persuade her that they are all following environmental rules, and that nature will be repaid in other ways. During this, Lena is shocked to find that the corporation has been involved in some shady activities while she has been away. A prestigious farm, owned by a devoted farmer named Polson, and his family, was demolished to make way for this shopping mall, and no compensation was given. To make matters worse, Lena appears to have signed these documents although she doesn't remember doing so. She openly opposes their destructive activities, which irritates Jonas and leads to an argument between them. Later on, they take a lunch break, but since the chef is not around, they are disappointed to eat only hot dogs. Shortly after, Jonas takes Lena away, and asks her why she was against him in front of everyone. Lena says that someone forged her signature because she could never sign those terms. However, Jonas tries to manipulate her by claiming that she must have forgotten about signing the paperwork, because she has been under a lot of stress recently. Meanwhile, Nadia claims that the finances do not match, and insists that the budgets be thoroughly checked, but Ingela tells her to stop talking about it in order to avoid a hostile work atmosphere. Elsewhere, we see another village worker who goes to relax, while drinking beer. But then all of a sudden, inside, while everyone is arguing, a man appears in a funny costume, and tries to lighten the mood by entertaining them. However, the employees continue to bicker. This enrages the man, who turns out to be Jonas, and he storms away from there. Shortly after, Ingela goes to console him, and Jonas complains that these people have no vision, and are not creative at all. Ingela assures him that not everyone is as talented as him, and that he is doing an amazing job as project head. To cheer him up, she gives him a golden shovel, and tells him that he will inaugurate the ground tomorrow. Later, the guide gathers the entire group and leads them on a tour. She collects their phones so they can enjoy themselves without distractions. During this, Lena confides in Amir that someone must have forged her signatures, and also suggests that he should talk and compensate Polsan, whose house was demolished. But Amir informs her that this is not possible because Polsan took his own life after his house was torn down. After this, the group begins their team building activity, in which they are separated into two groups. The first one to design a raft to cross the river wins. They build a makeshift boat out of plastics, and Jonas's team ends up winning. Meanwhile, the killer, who is roaming around, steals the bag with the cell phones and the head of Jonas's costume. Jenny, on the other hand, is upset since two of her staff are missing, and she is overburdened with work. But then, while she is looking for them, the killer suddenly appears in the mask and attacks her. She tries everything she can to get away, but he eventually kills her. Meanwhile, the team arrives for another recreational activity, which is to use a zipline across the lake. The guide encourages Lena to go for it, but Lena refuses because she is sick and can't take part in risky situations. Seeing this, Jonas begins mocking her, saying she lacks guts, and his sidekick, Kaj, also backs him up. Frustrated, Lena states that she can no longer handle this, and leaves for the resort. Later, she sneaks into Jonas' room, while her coworkers are still busy with the zipline activity. She then hacks into his laptop, and soon discovers that the project leader has been involved in a number of malpractices. The documents reveal that the major brands and businesses Jonas claimed to have secured for the shopping mall had never agreed to such arrangements. Lena copies all of this critical information onto a USB drive before making her exit. Sometime later, the killer is planning a huge attack, and lays multiple traps in the forest. Meanwhile, the guide realizes that the cell phones have been stolen, but she advises everyone not to worry and to keep having fun. She begins looking for her coworkers to ask about the phones later in the evening, but she cannot find them. While looking around, she comes across Jenny's lifeless body, right when the killer arrives to attack her. The guide tries to escape, but unfortunately, she ends up getting killed just like the others. On the other hand, the team goes to relax for a while, and partying outside in a hot tub. Moments later, Lena arrives and takes her trusted people, Nadia and Amir, to have a conversation. She informs them that they cannot allow the project to proceed, since it will result in economic losses for everyone. She also says that no one, including IKEA, has expressed an interest in opening a store in the mall like Jonas claimed. Once the mall opens, everyone will be blamed for the massive loss because neither IKEA nor any other business is coming, while Jonas will work for another company with a nice raise, because he has already signed a contract with them. Lena then goes outside, and reveals Jonas's plan in front of Kaj. Hearing this, he calmly says that he wants to talk to her alone, and brings her to his room. He suddenly offers her an important position in a much larger corporation in exchange for her silence. Jonas claims she is more gifted than others and she should aim higher, but Lena declines his proposition. Seeing Jonas try to deny the accusations, Lena shows him the USB drive, and warns him that if he doesn't abandon the project, she will report him to the authorities. Outside, everyone has retreated to their rooms, except Annette and Kaj. Suddenly, the killer appears, and upon seeing the mask, Kaj suspects it's Jonas. However, his assumption is proved wrong. The killer horribly mutilates and kills him. Seeing this, Annette is horrified and runs away before the killer can reach her. Shortly after, Ingela comes out of her room to look for resort staff since she is hungry. However, she notices that the reception area is vacant. She eventually arrives at a room that is covered in blood, and finds some teeth there. Unfortunately, before Ingela is able to figure out what is happening, the killer arrives and attacks her. He catches up with her, and ties her up on the flagpole, while everyone comes out as they hear the screams. Upon seeing the killer approaching, everyone becomes paranoid, and starts running around. Jonas and Lena start running toward the woods when suddenly, Jonas becomes entangled in razor-sharp wire, resulting in a severe cut to his head. Lena helps him and together, they run away from there. In a panic, they discover the raft they made earlier, and decide to use it to escape. But moments later, after some time of paddling, Jonas has a sudden change of mind. He warns Lena to give him the USB device, or else he won't let her on the raft. Left with no choice, she reluctantly gives him the drive, but as soon as she does so, the evil guy betrays her and kicks her into the water. After this, Lena again runs into the woods, and she trips and falls into a hole, where she comes across the chef's body. In the meantime, the surviving team members have locked themselves inside a room to avoid the killer. They then decide to confront the killer together, and begin making weapons. However, Amir gets worried about Lena, and decides to seek her on his own. He arrives in the woods with a flashlight, and begins calling Lena's name, while the murderer is also in the woods and hears him. But, before he can reach Amir, Lena grabs him and makes him quiet. Elsewhere, Nadia is looking for the key to their van so they can escape. She eventually finds it, but the killer appears to attack her. She manages to get away from him and tells her friends she has the keys, but the killer burns down the van before they can reach it. Just then, they hear noises coming from the back door, and notice someone about to open the door. Fortunately, it's just Lena and Amir, who have made it out of the woods alive. In the next scene, Annette comes from hiding, and meets Jonas, who is severely hurt. They sneak into a room where she helps in stitching his wounds. During this moment, Annette confides in Jonas, suggesting that the chaos might be because of her. Jonas is confused, so she tells him that the killer may be their former co-worker, Franz, who works at the environmental office. He is well aware that the shopping mall would be destructive to the community, so he was openly opposed to this project. Annette also reveals that she notified Franz about their trip to the Colarjon resort before they came. Hearing this, Jonas becomes enraged and rushes outside, followed by Annette. He then gets on a moped and rides away. When the killer shows up, Annette begs Jonas to take her with him, but he refuses and leaves her lying on the ground. Seeing the killer approaching, Annette tries to calm him down, thinking it's Franz. She claims she tried everything to persuade them not to go ahead with the project, but they did not listen. She then removes his masked head, only to realize that he is not Franz, and the killer finishes off her as well. At the same time, Jonas is trying to flee on his moped, unaware that the killer has also placed traps on the road, which causes him to lose his balance, and fall into the river. At the resort, Amir discovers a newspaper article stating that Polsan took his life after his house was demolished. His son had discovered his body in their barn, which had devastated him. After that, he openly promised to fight for farmers' rights, and his interview with the newspaper was also published. The group assumes that Polsan's son is behind all this, seeking revenge for his father. Lena proposes the idea of crossing the lake using the zip line, and the group agrees and they enter the forest to access the zip line. But then, they encounter the killer, who causes them to separate. Nadia gets caught in a bear trap, but manages to hit the killer in the face. While this does not stop his murdering spree, it does give her time to escape. In the meantime, Eva and Torbjorn immediately return to the cabin to hide. Later, Amir and Lena manage to reach the zip line. They start from one end together, but unfortunately, when they reach the middle, Amir notices that the opposite side of the zip line is covered in sharp branches. Therefore, he switches sides, and gives up his life to save Lena. Lena is fortunate that the sharp branches are just inches away from killing her, so she runs into the forest. She sits against a tree, visibly injured and bleeding. All of a sudden, she hears a phone ringing, and finds the place where the killer left the bag with the mobile phones nearby. With this, she immediately takes out her phone, and calls the cops. Back at the resort, the killer finds Eva and Torbjorn, and they summon the courage to confront him alone. When the murderer is about to kill Eva, Torbjorn arrives and sets fire to his mask. The killer instantly puts his mask in water, and returns to finish them off. Fortunately, Nadia arrives just in time. She manages to chop the killer's head off. Sometime later, Lena notices the police cars arriving, so she tries to approach them. But right then, Jonas appears out of nowhere and grabs her. He accuses her of ruining his life and he is ready to kill her, so that she won't reveal the information that harms him. However, Lena also fights him viciously. In a brutal struggle, she eventually tears out his hairline, and kills him. Afterwards, the nightmare appears to be finally over, as the resort is soon swarmed by ambulances and police cars. Lena also returns to the resort, and sees that the killer has been decapitated. In the end, only Lena, Eva, Nadia, and Torbjorn survive to see another day.